Where's water? On podcast. So we can actually start now.
We can actually start.
We've got water. Took us a while, but it did. Collected some water. All plastic. Drink out of borosilicate glass. But if you don't have some, get some water. Have a sip.
Drink Water Podcast.
Drink Water Podcast. We're back. It's been a big hiatus.
A little bit of a break. I spent some time overseas.
Where'd you go?
Went to Japan.
How was that?
It's great.
Great.
It's great. It's the future.
Have some. Oh, it's the future, you'd say?
I think it feels like the future.
Well,
it feels
clean.
like the future.
I haven't been.
Everything's kind of like, what is it? The thing in Dubai, in the Middle East, where they wanted to have like the buildings stacked on top of each other and everyone to live in this.
They're building the line.
Yeah, the line.
The line in Saudi Arabia.
I feel like that's kind of what Japan feels like.
Wow.
You're in the
line.
You're in the line. Everything goes up.
You're in a futuristic city.
Yeah. Everyone's there.
Fresh.
It's intense. It's neon. Everyone's there.
Wow.
Which
Well,
is
what's the craziest thing that happened?
craziest thing that happened? Don't even really know. I think it's just how neon and psychedelic.
Or did you meet someone? People?
I think just the everyday life. Everything's very solo.
Individualistic. It's not families. They're destroying the nuclear family, they say.
Yeah, they're all there. Everyone's like, you go into a restaurant and you'll get your booth.
Oh, right.
And it's like a big thing dividing you from the person next to you.
I like that. Because you can't go to restaurants here because you look like some loser.
You look like some weirdo.
You've got 4 empty seats. So like someone else come in. You're like, no. It's just me. It's just me.
You're there.
I'm just sitting here on my
loud.
phone. Can I just have some peace? I just don't even do it.
Yeah.
I'll just go sit in a park.
Yeah, because
takeaway. Why would I do that?
Crazy.
Yeah,
yeah.
You look like a lunatic.
It's wrong to kind of sit alone. I think, especially in Australia, everyone's there having a conversation. Be like, yeah, when's your mate coming?
Yeah.
It's
almost rude to restaurants need to get with the times. It's rude to subjugate someone to sit at this like big empty table.
True.
So can I have a little booth?
Yeah.
And I can clip my iPhone up.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm doing.
I know.
2023.
Yeah, everyone should be there.
1990. I'm trying to talk to people. Talking like 15 people on like my Discord right now. What do you mean? I'm working.
I also noticed they're not even on their phones a lot of the time. You go to a restaurant, everyone has their like little booth. You can't even really see them. To see the person next to you, you'd have to kind of go, what are you doing in your booth? And they're just sitting there eating.
That's cool.
It's
thinking.
Yeah. That's the whole thing. It's very like set up for like a solo person. You live your life alone.
So you're destroying the nuclear family.
They are destroying the nuclear family. There's too many people.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, we got to stop this stuff. We got to stop people talking.
Yeah.
We just got to make sure people just kind of live alone.
Yeah. Relating to, I guess, destroying the family unit, there's some people who are going a little crazy in Sydney. So it's spread from America. What are they called? Christian Lives Matter. That sounds familiar. Christian Lives Matter. Christian Lives Matter.
It's a great...
It's not White Lives Matter. That's where it's from. White Lives Matter.
The Kanye West show.
The Kanye West show.
Yeah,
true. I knew that sounded very familiar. So they're inspired by Kanye.
Do we have to get rid of the Lives Matter thing? Do you think it's getting offensive at that point? Do you think it becomes offensive when it gets tagged onto something else? The Lives Matter.
From Black Lives Matter.
Yes.
Because
do you think
that's the whole point?
It's the whole idea that, like, at the end of the day, we're also trying to have a dig at Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
It's like we're also having a dig at that.
It's hilarious.
Because it's always
it's like, just from the start of your name, you already know what you're trying to do right now. You already know a lot about the group. You could diverge a lot of things about their
because all it takes is like, you have to write whatever lives matter. So let's say you write
Water Lives Matter. Should we change the podcast name to Water Lives Matter?
Because it's just like letting people know we don't agree with Black Lives Matter. Yeah. We think that's a joke. Just to let you all know we don't think
we think that,
we think that's a joke.
Black Lives,
So Christian Lives Matter.
Christian Lives Matter.
Amazing.
I don't know how long they've been around, so it all started someone made a joke on the project, said, I love Jesus, I love any guy that could get nailed for 3 days and come back for more. It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Probably isn't the most appropriate joke for like nighttime television. For like, it's a family station. It's not even that bad.
It's actually a family station. It's a bit like over
it's a bit over the top. Maybe if it was a 9 o'clock special or whatever. But people got pretty angry. It's not even that offensive. I don't even know what's that.
I personally think it's
what they're calling Jesus gay.
Yeah.
But how they didn't even call him gay. They just got nailed, I don't know.
It's insinuating that he got... Yeah, it's insinuating that. I think it's a hacky joke. Number one.
And he was a comedian as well, the guy.
Was he?
Yeah.
Was he a gay comedian?
Yes. I'm not 100% sure.
You're not 100%
yeah.
sure. Okay.
In the group.
So he's probably already not getting a pass.
Already not getting it. They probably would have protested regardless. The fact that he was on the show for their kids to watch, they would have been a little bit upset. But so that happened, and then they marched through Newtown.
Oh, this was like afterwards, was it?
Straight, I think that night, or the night after. They went through Newtown, videos came out, and they're just a bunch of...
Because...
Western Sydney...
Did Spanian have a video talking about that event? I'm pretty sure I saw it on Instagram.
So Spanian had a video. Yeah. He made a weird little edit with the little soundtrack. He's like, first they make fun of our God, then they do some... It was funny. It's like comedy to it, but it's scary.
Yeah.
It's sad to see Spanian.
And it shows that clip. Because I remember seeing... that's the only reason I know the clip.
It starts with that clip, yeah.
Yeah. Which is...
Yeah, so they march through Newtown. They're saying the
project.
The Hail Mary.
Oh.
Full of grace. Forgive us for our sins while we forgive those who sin against us. Already going against what they're saying. So they're not forgiving those who sin against them.
Wow.
So they're already going against their prayer. So they're not really listening to their religion. Because, I don't know, Christianity's got a lot of good things. They do a lot for charity, blah, blah, blah. I'm not the biggest fan, but whatever.
Yeah.
But so they were doing their prayer, going against it. And they progress society in ways and not in ways, whatever. But, and then what?
They're pretty powerful.
Pretty powerful.
Christians.
Yeah.
I think they're pretty good people.
Yeah, I don't know.
We'll
go into that another time.
We'll go into that. We're going to have a look back on. We'll get into the more of the Christian stuff again.
Very
soon.
I like that. I'd love to hear his opinion on the whole thing as well.
Of course. And if any religious people as well want to come on the podcast.
We could have a discussion.
Get your point across.
Yeah.
Get your point out there. So they're doing the prayer in the middle of Newtown.
Yeah, so they walk... I don't know why they went to Newtown. Maybe because it's all like lefty, bloody hippies or whatever they thought. Too scared to go to Oxford Street. I don't know, whatever. So they do a little thing in Newtown. People are probably just like vaping, like, what the hell's going on here? Like, we're not even religious. We're like Satanists. Like, we don't even care about anything.
They're just having like literally their coffees, putting down their acai bowls. It's like, what's going on here? Like someone's like in a thrift store being like, what's like every single stereotype. There's like an indie rock band. I'll be like, so they're in Newtown.
Yeah, I went to Newtown, did a little protest.
And the protest is, do they have a sign saying Christian lives?
They were holding Christian lives. They were holding pictures of a modern day Mary, some like white skinned Mary. I don't know.
Like the Italian Mary.
The Italian Mary.
Okay, right.
She was Italian. She was born in Venice in 1593, whatever. They're gonna come ask for us.
They might. There might be the protesting in the streets again.
Yeah.
Which is so they've got Italian Mary from Venice on a big poster.
I think this was just before Mardi Gras, and then Mardi Gras happened.
What was before Mardi? I mean,
it was Pride, World Pride was happening, and then there was Mardi Gras happened. World Pride kind of finished.
Yeah.
And then the weekend after, they organised a Save the Kids thing.
Oh, I love the Save the Kids
Save
idea.
the Kids.
That's
They're
great.
bringing the kids in, putting the kids in front. Over here in Hyde Park.
Were kids at that one?
I think people brought some of their kids there.
Good. It'd be like the kids would probably be like, "Save us."
They brought their kids, and I did some manies of it. There were a lot of people. There were like thousands of people. Thousands of people.
To save the kids.
A lot of Kanye shirts, a lot of Yeezys, a lot of crosses.
Any Trump hats?
Maybe. I think I saw some Trump paraphernalia, I think.
Okay.
Because I walked through, like, there was like an after party at the actual church where people were doing some speaking. I saw a lot of Kanye shirts.
Kanye shirts?
It had like just a Yeezy and then like some Psalm. I don't know. And he's like written into the Bible now. He's done the new chapter.
So great. I think you have to kind of like align yourself with a religion nowadays to kind of get to that next level.
Yeah.
Like you have, goodness. Okay, yeah. So
and there was like a counter protest. I think there was some fighting. Nothing really crazy happened. But I was watching some of the speeches on Instagram, and they're just like, and the footage, and they're literally like hilarious. Like, there's one guy who's saying they're teaching the kids about this stuff about like non-binary. I don't even know what the hell it is. It's like they're literally explaining why they're teaching kids about this stuff. Like you don't know about it. That's why they're trying to teach kids. So then when they grow up, they're not going to be idiots like you protesting in Hyde Park about nothing.
Yeah.
And then I guess it all started, there's these, drag events in schools.
Yes.
I don't know, there's been like 7 in like America somewhere. I don't know, America's crazy.
Yeah.
They don't seem too great. I don't know.
We've seen them.
We've seen them.
They don't look
they're not
amazing.
the greatest thing that you'd want kids to be watching necessarily.
Of course.
But it's not the worst thing in the world. Well, I don't know, it's pretty bad.
terrible.
It's pretty bad, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's not in Australia at all.
There
Nothing's
hasn't been one
happened in
event.
Australia.
Right.
It's all in like random parts of America, very small amount.
Okay, and I think that all travels over. It's like the whole Black Lives Matter thing. It travels worldwide. Something's going on in America.
But a lot of these, they're kind of focusing, like the parents brought the kids there because it's more for the parents.
Right.
And they're like little 2-year-olds who aren't really remembering any, like, I get it's horrible, but they're like, I don't know. A lot of them, they're just for the parents. They're for these bored parents who want to, like, they've got these annoying kids. And, like, I still want to have some fun. So maybe it's more on the parents. Maybe the parents need to, maybe they shouldn't do that, whatever.
Is it just like classic, like by the book brainwashing, though?
In what way?
Where it's like you've got this screen in front of you and it's constantly saying this is bad, they're coming after us, da-da-da-da-da.
Oh, for the people that are protesting?
Yeah, the people that are going out
Yeah, there's so much propaganda.
Like,
they're making it out that there's the clips, there's like evil music.
Oh, I was going to say, you watch the Spaniard one and you've got like the daunting music underneath.
Yeah, it's like dun, dun, and it's just the clip when they're like walking away.
Yeah, they're like dun, 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 and
it's easy for an adult. It's a lot easier for an adult to see that and be like, "That's so sexual and horrible." But let's remember that kids aren't sexual. They don't know what sex is.
Right.
They don't get what they're not looking at a butt and then like thinking all these things like an adult would be. Because they are just kids.
Yeah. Kids see a butt and think it's hilarious.
Kids are like, I remember being naked when I was 8. I'd run around the house singing naked. You don't think about any of that stuff.
Of course.
And then some of the comments, it's like, if kids are on Instagram reading your comments right now, and they're most like, all the anti-comments about these things, they're like, these are the most like sexual comments that you're saying.
Yeah.
And it's like, kids are reading these comments, and it's like insane.
Again, you have the idea of social media.
Yeah.
Should there be a ban on... Is there an age restriction for Instagram? I think there is, isn't there?
Yeah, well, most parents have, like, just child protection, so they couldn't even see that kind of content.
You've got, a quick one is the Northwest videos on TikTok.
Yeah.
Her, with Ice Spice, singing the Ice Spice lyrics.
I don't know. I heard about that. I didn't really look into it.
That was an interesting one. That's like a Save Our Kids moment.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Where it's like, it's the hypersexualization in a different way.
Yeah.
Not from the LGBTQ community, it's from like the straight community.
Yeah.
So it's just...
Where it's always been from.
Where it's always been from. And it's the idea that, I guess, it may connect, it may kind of give them a bit of a case. Because you find the same people are jumping on that as well. Yeah. And maybe that's nice to be like, hey, let's keep Ice Spice.
If they were like, I don't know, if they were going about it in a, I don't know, you just watch the videos and like, you don't obviously not caring about your kids. If you cared about your kids, you wouldn't be doing these embarrassing speeches that your kids are going to have to like grow up and watch. And be like, Mom, what's this? What the hell did you do? Everyone's bullying me now. Yeah. You're like the Christian, and they're all like, I don't even think they've realized that they've all become like evangelical Christians now.
Yeah.
So they're not even Christians anymore. They're now evangelical Christians. So I saw some of the clips, and they're pretty much saying like, we're here to save you. We're coming to save the LG, whatever.
Yes. I think they seem to tie it in with the devil.
Yeah.
There's this whole idea, I think, with a lot of evangelical Christians and a lot of like radical Christians, that there is a devil coming.
Yeah.
There is Satan that's here, and we have to figure out where he is exactly.
Yeah.
Is he the Sudanese in Melbourne? Is he like ethnic Lebanese people in the western suburbs? Yeah. Where is this devil?
Yeah.
Because they basically, and they go to the news to kind of figure out, okay, what's going on? There's like crime here. Is that the devil?
And it's just sad to see, because you can just see the government screwed over all their people all around the world. Financial systems are crashing, rents are going up. And you're just seeing like World War II history, and they're like, let's blame the marginalized people who aren't doing anything. And it's kind of this thing, it's like, let's do something, let's find an issue where there is no problem, so we don't even have to do anything. Because they're sexualizing our kids, but they're not doing it here at all, so it's like, we don't even have to do anything.
We can just go protest
and go home, because there's no work to even be done here. So it's just like so lazy. It's just like crazy.
Interesting.
It's like we could actually go and listen to all the statements of all these kids who've been molested by priests and whatnot in our groups, in our communities, and listen to these horrific like recordings of all these like traumatic details and like that you wouldn't even be able to sleep for weeks. But it's like, well, that sounds like a lot of work.
That sounds disgusting.
That sounds traumatic. That sounds like I actually have to like help kids. I don't really care about kids. They're annoying and loud. I want to go just yell at some poor marginalised people who aren't even doing anything. It's hilarious. It's crazy.
That's probably spot on.
Yeah, it's sad to see in Australia.
Yeah, you want to protect our kids. How about you go look at your leader?
Yeah.
How about you go look at the priest?
Yeah.
It's a very easy
and it's sad, and it's like Spaniards created this entirely, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, there was another one at the Mark McGowan thing. And all the politicians are blaming Mark for all this. But it's like you can see, Spanian is like the king of Sydney, or was the king of Sydney. I love Spanian. He was incredible. He was like the voice of Sydney. And you can just see all these people are all following and listening to Spanian. It all started when he had his rant. And it's so sad to see.
And it is kind of like a Kanye West thing.
Yeah.
You've amassed this fan base. You've got all these loyal people that are kind of like, what are you doing? Yeah. And as soon as it's like, okay, this is the mission now.
Yeah.
And as soon as they get given, like, a task, it's almost impossible not to kind of go for it.
Yeah.
Because it's like, this is a guy that I idolize. This is a guy that I kind of has changed my life.
Controversy gets a lot of clicks.
Of course, and especially, like, you find a lot of people who've been in similar situations to him.
Yeah.
And it's like, this guy's changed my life, changed my outlook. And then he's like, what do I got to do? I've got to attack this group.
Yeah.
Of course, whatever you say. Whatever you say, you saved my life.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like a Christ sort of figure, where it's like, you want me to get out of
the streets?
Scary,
the power of these social media people.
I think it goes into like anyone. You'd find like the Gandhis and the stuff like that. It happens at different levels. But you'd find someone like a Kanye West through the music, or someone like a Spanian through his story. That change people's lives.
He's a great speaker. He's very entertaining.
Yeah. As soon as you are actually having a direct impact on people, I think that's when you've got people forever.
And I think he's kind of destroyed his career. Like, he's going to have all these people loving him for a little bit. But I feel like the bulk of people who have now seen that, who really loved him and actually would have, I don't know. I feel like he's just, have completely forgotten about him now. Not even forgotten, but it's just he's tarnished it. And it's kind of unredeemable.
Do you respect him standing up for something he believes in? That's kind of what my whole thing
I would
is.
if he researched and looked into the school and he could say it was this person and it was like this group and it's obviously not all these people, and he was being very respectful about the language and he used, and he researched the history of calling gay people or like members of that community pedophiles and what that means, and maybe use a different word or whatever. Yeah. Then I'd be like, yeah, good on you, whatever.
Right.
But he hasn't looked into anything. He's just going on dumb, ignorant rants just to spell people up. He's just spreading hatred. It's just disgusting and sad to see.
Or do you think it's someone with a voice who's just kind of like wanting to have a discussion?
I get it, he's just doing him. He's always been like true to himself. But I don't know. Maybe if he did a podcast about it, which he hasn't done. He hasn't even dropped a podcast in a while. And spoke about it.
It'll be, because what happens is, like, I do respect someone having an opinion and kind of standing behind something they believe in.
Yeah.
And it's like the Kanye West thing, where it's like, he had an opinion, and what he did, he went to different podcasts to kind of be challenged on it. He almost wanted to, like...
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, what would happen is, let's say Spanian goes on...
If he went on...
Lex Friedman.
Goes on Lex Friedman and Tim Pool.
But you'd find someone like... I'm trying to think of an Australian...
Tim Pool's like, so next we've got this guy from Australia who's actually on the same thing that we're kind of talking about here. Thank you for having me. But then what?
But he needs to go on Drinkwater podcast.
Come on here.
Flesh it out.
We can have a discussion.
Because it's the whole idea of this is why podcasts are great, and this is why I think it just takes time to kind of get used to, I guess, all this stuff when it comes to social media, when it comes to like having a voice. There has to be a platform that you can have a discussion.
Yeah. I don't think he even wants to have a discussion though, because I think deep down he does know that he's, I don't know.
But I think he needs to.
I think he knows he'll just get destroyed, because I know that he probably realizes that he doesn't know much about this. I think he knows that it will make him look kind of like an idiot.
But I guess what needs to happen, especially for these people like a Kanye West or like a Spanian, or the people that have this strong point of view, they need to be able to be like, oh, I'm so passionate about this, I'm willing to be challenged, I'm willing to engage in debate.
And it's like
it's almost like you should be forced into it.
Yeah.
If you have like a cult following or have a big following and you're saying controversial
you have to prove
things,
your point in some way,
rather
shape,
than
or form.
cancelling that person, being like, let's strip him from his
I'm not saying he
management,
should be
let's
cancelled. I'm definitely not saying that
but
at
like
all.
the whole idea that his career is now going to go down the toilet.
I just think he has, because most people in Sydney my age don't like him anymore.
But I think they should give him a chance to actually redeem himself and kind of speak on what he's saying.
He is speaking. He keeps going. Like,
but he's talking to
a camera. Yeah, he's talking to his audience.
He needs to have a sit down with
someone who disagrees with him strongly.
Literally.
Which I'm sure he has a lot of people around him that probably do.
And when you literally think about, like, I hate the term cancel culture, it should be replaced with more of a kind of like what happened with Kanye.
Yeah.
If you have this idea that's really dangerous, well, it's
like,
what
was the last one he went? Who did? What's his name?
Which one?
Who's the last one he did?
Gavin McInnes.
Even Gavin's pretty crazy, but even Gavin kind of
he
exposed him to be like, well, that's crazy.
And I finished listening to the Gavin McInnes interview with Kanye West and was like, oh, okay, yeah.
I know, and you listen to that, and you're like, and even Gavin's like, well, that's crazy. You can't do that.
Yes.
That's insane what you're saying.
And what happened, that was his final interview.
Yeah.
And that's when I think most of the people, anyone that tuned into it was like, okay, well, he's been proven wrong, which is sad.
Insane what he said now.
He's literally been proven wrong.
Yeah.
And that was the one person that was able to sit down and be like, what exactly
Let's
happened
break
here?
down, like, what are you actually trying to say?
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, well, I definitely disagree with that, and that's probably a bad thing. That's really bad. You can't do that. That's against everything that America's about. So, yeah. I don't know what you're saying. Creating like a Christian ethno-state. I don't know about that. That's just crazy. It's insanity.
And that's what happens. Someone sits down with Spanian and be like, okay, so what's the answer here? Literally, I'm here.
Is that who you talking about? Are there like victims? Like, what are we even talking about?
What should we do? Should we stop them from being in public spaces? Should we da-da-da-da-da? And he's like, yeah. Again, it's usually they get a bit stumped.
Yeah.
I found Kanye got stumped and he's like, they can't run businesses.
Yeah.
They have to work for a Christian person. And then suddenly you're like, oh, anyone listening to that?
Yeah.
Is like,
wait, what?
Oh, okay. I was.
There's no freedom. So you want to get rid of freedom for certain people. That sounds great.
And that's what happens with this Spaniard thing. No one really wants to kind of take it there and be like, okay, let's line it out.
Yeah.
Let's get to the end of this protest. What are you wanting from this protest? What does it look like exactly?
I don't think he's gone to any of these protests either.
Right.
It is, yeah.
But he's just the person behind it.
You can just see directly.
Okay.
The people that, like, you can just see it.
Yeah. Ken, we're keeping it nice and controversial. I do want to touch on...
So, yeah, there was another one in Melbourne. And that one got a little bit crazier.
Here we go. So there was a Melbourne Nazi rally. Oh,
we'll play the video. We'll play this one.
The first one?
No, play the Melbourne one.
The Melbourne one. Was this the Melbourne one?
Yeah.
Yeah, here we go. Okay, so the video was Nazi salute before on steps of Victorian Parliament. Which isn't a good...
It's not great. If you're there, like, I think this was a turf protest. Okay. So this was separate to the Christian Lives, whatever.
So this is trans exclusionary radical feminists. They're going against the...
And then they probably looked back and be like, wait, are we with them? So let's play it then.
Okay, let's just play. Let's see what's going on here.
This scenes a group of 24 or so men reportedly from the National Socialist Movement were repeatedly seen doing the Nazi salute towards these pro-trans protesters. Police filmed there holding back the pro-trans groups as these people saluted while walking past. It is understood the group then moved on to the steps of the Victorian State Parliament,
so
where
there's
they
some guys in black
the Nazi
doing the Nazi
now, these
salute.
Pro-trans activists were there because of Kelly J. King. She's also been called...
They could be stretching. I mean, it's not impossible.
She's been called
What do you think they're pointing in the direction they want to go?
She is the founder of the group Standing for Women. Amy Sargent was there. She's an artist and trans activist. She spoke to 6 News about...
Melbourne's crazy. Let's just say that.
A lot of Nazis in Melbourne.
This stuff doesn't happen in Sydney.
Yeah.
And how about we...
Well, I mean, it's getting close, but yeah.
And so we have almost like a quintessential poster child for the left movement here.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Down to the hair, down to kind of the fringe cut, down to everything.
But I think like a lot of people like blaming the police, and they're like saying things like, "Oh, look at the police; they're protecting the Nazis."
Yeah.
But I just feel like that group. I forget the guy that runs it, but it's the guy that like punched the black security guard at Channel 9 and got off. Like beat the crap out of him. He's leading the march. So he's been let out. He's
Yeah.
he's back on his little Nazi regime.
Yeah.
And these people are smart. He's highly educated. They've done this. It's not their first rodeo. They've done this plenty of times. They know what they're trying to do. They're trying to cause ruckus. They're trying to embarrass the people. So they knew if they walk right behind the police, do a Nazi salute, it's not illegal. They're not breaking the law. They've organised this protest. They can do what they want.
Yeah.
All these people are obviously going to get so triggered and try to get them. And then the police, like, they're just doing their jobs. The police didn't do anything wrong. Like, they were set up as well. They're just literally in a position like, what do you want us to do? We can't, like, break the law.
So the Nazi salute, does that come down to their own beliefs, or does that go to, like, just being triggering? Is that, like, trolling? Trolling, I mean.
No, well, these guys are just neo-Nazis.
So this is just part of the... They go back home. They go back to their base. And
They
like,
go
hey,
back and they've got
and
Hitler
doing
on the wall. And they're neo-Nazis. They're linked with
Interesting.
American groups. They're very smart and sophisticated. And they're trying to bring back a Fourth Reich. Now, you can find their clips. Like, it's on the
Really?
internet. You can find their videos. 60 Minutes did a whole report on them. Like, it's a lot of information.
How about they sit down with Spanion? How about that? We need to start having these. It's like the Howard Stern show. We should have Spanion, a group of
the Nazi
neo-Nazis.
guy.
We should have this lady. This lady with the red hair and the fringe. And
She
they should-
comes on.
Yeah, they should all be in a room together.
Have a discussion.
Yeah.
Civil discussion.
It's great. In all honesty, you'd find some sort of common ground. Speaking of like a real niche thing,
Jubilee should do it, yeah.
a Jubilee. Again, that's...
Maybe they should do a Jubilee Nazis. Do all Nazis think the same thing?
Completely.
That would literally be so funny.
I watched Richard Spencer on No Jumper with Destiny.
Yeah.
That was a great listen.
True.
He was someone who's kind of changed his views. Over
Oh,
time.
really?
Yeah.
That's-
And it was just interesting to be like, okay, this person used to be a neo-Nazi, just kind of went out of it.
And I get being a neo-Nazi, you know? It's probably hard to be a white person in this modern world.
Yeah.
And it is an easy identity to fall onto if you've got a lot of anger and hate.
Of
and
course.
it's something like, if you want to be proud of being white, it's a pretty easy thing to be proud of. If you wanted to.
100%.
So I kind of get the ideology of where these people come from.
Yeah.
So I don't judge them 100%. Like, I do see some good in them. They are just a person at the end of the day.
Yeah, and it's this whole idea that for whatever reason they feel they've been pushed
Yeah.
into becoming radical. It's
Yeah.
like, I had no choice. The world and society and everyone pushed me here.
I'm sure some of them
and I ended
might
up-
be a lot more just pure evil, like the leader guy. Might just be
Right.
an actual, just like, Hitler type person.
Do you think
there
that-
is no redeeming? He is just a horrible person that should probably be expelled from
It's
life.
usually stuff that happened. This doesn't come out of nowhere. It's usually events that kind of led the person down this road.
Yeah.
And I think that's what, again, the beauty of having a sit down with someone.
But yeah,
Like a proper sit down.
Yeah.
Like a proper sit down. Like even with the Kanye situation, the only one that really sat him down was Gavin McGuinness.
Yeah.
That was even kind of willing to ask the proper
Yeah.
questions. Someone to be like, okay, so what kind of got you here? Like, what's the actual answer? What do you really want? Because
Yeah.
there's this whole idea that we're not going to reason with Nazis, we're going to punch Nazis, we're not going to listen to a Nazi for a second.
yeah,
Because of the history.
yeah.
Which is a tricky one,
Yeah.
because then what happens if you don't listen to them? They're just going to kind of keep going with what
What's
they're doing.
Tim Dillon saying? It's like the Elon Musk thinks if we don't merge with AI will take over. And then with Twitter, he's like, if we don't merge with the Nazis, they'll take over. We need to merge with the Nazis. It's a good take. I like it. It's funny.
It is a nice little take.
Because they're here. But
Yeah, I think they need to have a sit down. I think at the end of the day, we need to actually have them on platforms.
and a lot of them are just like young, confused, angry young men
100%.
who could easily change. Like, they're very not
Yeah.
long. Like, but I don't know, that leader guy,
You think he's a problem.
he's like, he's highly educated.
And that's where it gets scary.
They're the scary
Yeah.
ones. That's
The
like
ones
an
that are
actual
highly
issue.
educated.
But these young, angry kids, it's like, they're just kids. Like,
But what has to happen, you have to find the more highly educated person, or you have to find someone who's like a worthy opponent to go up and sit down with him.
yeah.
They had the person back in the day that was always at when they used to have it on ABC, they'd have like the round tables. It was Blair Cottrell.
Yeah.
He would be the one that would kind of go up against like the Muslim woman and
Right.
kind of have a back and forth.
Yeah, yeah.
And he would
About how he doesn't want Islam to come into, like, England or whatever.
Oh yeah, or into Australia, or
Oh, right.
into again. I think he's from Melbourne.
Yeah. Oh, right.
And they would have the sit downs.
Yeah.
And it was scary. I feel that they had to kind of cancel him or shut him down because he was too intelligent, and he was kind of making a fool out of so many people.
Yeah.
And it was almost like, hey, we've got this radical, horrible neo-Nazi on, and everyone's like, why do I like him? Why is he making so much sense? And then it's like, why is he embarrassing this other group?
Yeah.
We have to stop it.
Yeah.
Sorry, camera's off. This is not how we wanted it to go.
Yeah.
But again, it just comes down
But it's hard to have, say, a discussion about religion ever since, in France. Everything changed.
Of course.
It's like on, Richard Dawkins just went on Piers Morgan.
Yeah.
And Piers is like bringing up Islam because he's very against Christianity, Richard Dawkins.
Yeah.
And he's kind of bringing up Islam and trying to get him to say the same thing. And Richard is like, are you trying to kill him? He's like, I'm not answering these questions. Do you really want me? And he's like, and he kind of forces him to say, I just want to move on. And then he's kind of like, it's sad that we can't even have these discussions.
That's great.
In this world. And it is kind of, it is sad. It's scary.
It is really sad.
Yeah.
And on so many different levels.
Yeah.
Like, this is even one of them. You can't have that discussion. Because at the end of the day, I
might have to go on Rumble now.
No, this is the future. We're just kind of having these discussions.
Drinkwater podcast.
It's the Drinkwater podcast, everyone. We're having discussions, free flowing.
Yeah.
Free flowing discussions. And I think it's so important to have.
But probably the biggest thing that happened, 6ix9ine finally got jumped.
Okay. He finally got caught. He
got caught slipping. He got
caught slipping.
It's a funny video because you see right after he gets beaten up, the guy's like, "Nah, bro, I love you, man. I love you, man. Actually, I'm the biggest fan." And he's like, "But you just jumped me, bro."
Is that the guy? I didn't know what happened.
Those guys are the ones. And they're like, "Nah, man, we love you, bro. We love you, bro." He's like, "But you just jumped me, man."
That's almost like psychologically
It's psychologically crazy.
That's...
I think it's kind of how they can just avoid, get out of the gym and it's like nothing's really happens.
Oh, dang it.
It's crazy.
Dang, I didn't know that. But they've been charged? I
have no idea. I just watched
I know
on Twitter. I just saw trending.
We're not a hip-hop podcast.
Yeah, this ain't no jumper. But we do have Destiny coming through this.
Coming through Destiny, how you going?
But ideologically, I saw the funniest debate, Destiny versus Sneeko and Aiden Ross. It was just so good.
Dang, I would love to watch
Just so funny. And it's just like, you guys, you're 20 and you're boomers already. You guys never even live, but you're sounding like 60-year-olds screaming about.
But this is the thing. Funny. This is the thing. Most Gen Zs are boomers.
Yeah.
Because I find a lot of this is a generational thing. And everything just goes in these cycles.
Yeah,
so
pendulum swings.
The Zoomer generation are now all conservative.
Because the previous was so anti-religion that it's kind of pushed them back to religion.
Of course. The whole, South Park, Family Guy, The Simpsons. Yeah. Everyone's like an anarchist almost. Yeah. Where it's anarchist socialist.
Yeah. Atheist.
Atheist. It was pretty cool. At its roots. And before it kind of, becomes uncool. Because that's what happens eventually. It's this cool, edgy thing, and suddenly everyone adopts it, and now everyone has this belief, and now it's not cool anymore.
Yeah.
Now it's not fun or exciting to get behind.
But I feel like we're very into watching all sides. That's how you form opinions. That's how you solidify your opinion. That's how you learn new things. It's the best way. You can't stay in an echo chamber, or you're just what even are you? You need to hear you need to listen to the Nazis,
100%.
Everything. You need to listen to people.
Like you said, these people that are protesting in Melbourne.
Yeah,
I want to have a listen to
them. I want to talk to them, because it's how can you even debate them if you don't even know their actual specific opinions?
Of course.
You can actually formulate an argument against it.
Yeah, and the sad thing is, I would want to go on YouTube right now and listen to some of their propaganda videos, or kind of listen to some of their videos that they're doing, or some of their speeches, like I used to do probably 5-6 years ago with Blair Cottrell, and be like, okay, listen to this. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. I think that a good debate for that would be this.
Yeah.
Okay, no, he's got something there. I want to think about that a little bit. That's how it should be.
Yeah.
Not like you type in Blair Cottrell, nothing comes up.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, dang, I can't even do anything here.
Yeah.
I'm not allowed to even look into something.
It's crazy. But I heard a really cool quote by Richard Dawkins to finish on religion.
Yes.
Just to bring you back to atheist. I'm not atheist, but I don't know. It's just very... He didn't say it exactly like this, so I kind of changed it a little bit, but it was pretty much... Life came from simple beginnings, and we are now complex. So we are looking for complexity where there's only simplicity.
Wow.
I like
it. I like it. I really
And it's
like
just
that.
kind of like we are so complex now, so we assume where we came from was so complex as well. But where we came from is the most simple thing that is kind of beautiful. It is so simple.
Yeah.
We just came from a single cell. And now we're this crazy complex thing. And they've done like scientific tests of other like life forms that will always come from these insanely simplistic beginnings.
Yeah.
And create this insane complexity things.
Right.
Yeah.
From simplicity. I think you could take that over into so many different
Yeah.
things. Like that's a nice little takeaway
Yeah,
for
I
everyone.
love Richard, but he always brings me back to some atheist. But I don't know, who knows? I'll be Christian. I'll be marching next week.
I know
with
you
them.
might be. You literally might
Or
be.
I'll be
yeah.
doing the Nazi salute. Who knows? Drinkwater podcast.
Drink
We
Water
gotta go
podcast.
vote.
I have to go vote. Yes, we gotta go vote. Who are we voting for? I don't even.
We can't go. We drink
can't- we can't
water.
talk
That's
about
all.
that.
It is.
Anyway,
Drink
Drink Water podcast. Put it on everyone.
We can't talk about that.
J'aimerais tellement lui dire, mais je n'ose pas. Lui qui